Hello YouTube, Devin here again with another helmet video, and today I have a French helmet for you. Well, it's one of the French current issue helmets. It's being slowly phased out, and it's a very technologically innovative helmet compared to a lot of the other designs of this same time period. It's the French F2 helmet. And we'll take a look at the cover first here, and the cover is just your standard kind of 50-50 nylon cotton weave in French CCE pattern camouflage with its rubber rim attachment, which is significantly wider than that of the F1. And you can see it was made by CSV in 1995. The camera fucking focuses here. CSV 1995. So get that out of the way now. Now, here's the shell, and the shell of this helmet is a very, very innovative material. It's made out of spectra fiber, which was developed by Honeywell in the late 80s. It's pretty much just as good as Kevlar. It's a little bit tighter weave. It's a lot easier to work with, and it lasts longer than Kevlar, but it is very expensive. So the French helmets are all made out of this. Even the Feline helmet, their new one, is made out of spectra instead of Kevlar. They're one of two countries that use spectra in their helmets. The other ones being the Canadians, and that's only because the Canadian helmets are all made by a subsection of the same company that made these. So, but as you can see, this is pretty much your standard European Pazgat clone. It's got the flared ears, it's got the huge deep skirt on it, and it has the bill. So, but unlike most other Pazgats, everything's held in place with brass rivets instead of screws and A-washers. So everything's held in place with rivets, kind of like on the F1 helmet. So, and this is a brand new helmet. The shells were covered in this kind of moleskin, greenish gray brown, and they put a very fine sand in the texture. So it has a fairly smooth texture still because of how fine of the sand they used in it. But these helmet shells were made and heat pressed with the resin and sandwiched and everything like that, and then they covered them in plastic. As you can see, some of the plastic is chipped off the bill here, and you could see the start of the fibers underneath. So, but these were all covered in plastic, which is why they don't have a protective rim on them like most other helmets, because this plastic protected the actual shell, as well as giving a lot of weather resistance and increasing the life of the shell. So, take a look at the liner now, and the liner is pretty much just a drop-in from the F1, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So it's pretty much exactly the same. It's the herringbone cotton, nylon cotton fabric with the open cell foam glued right to the back of each of that, and then over the wear points there's leather glued over the top of the foam. Sweatband is still leather sweatband sewn to a piece of fabric, and the chin cup is a piece of plastic with leather on the back side, and on the inside of the chin cup it's covered in a kind of thin sheepskin chamois, which is like a kind of like a suede feeling type thing, which is very naturally antimicrobial, and it doesn't stink as fast as a lot of other leathers, so it works very, very well for that. Around behind the sweatband, there's foam entirely encompassing around the sweatband to help keep you in a blast from your head bumping into the hardware, which would be like these A-washers holding the suspension in. The suspension is adjustable at the crown with a drawstring, just like the F1. Has the same kind of chin strap as the F1. It's 3-point. It has M buckles to adjust everything, and Velcro. There's a lot of Velcro on this chin strap, which makes it kind of a pain to adjust, and you end up having a lot of extra fabric tails left over, which gets really annoying to manage. You could always cut them down though, I guess, but I don't want to do that and ruin the helmet. So the only thing that's really different entirely on the suspension is now, instead of having snaps to hold in the suspension, which would have been a lot better idea, I think, there is Velcro. So the whole chin strap is one gigantic long piece of webbing that's completely Velcro covered, and most of it's loop style Velcro, and the last like 4 or 5 inches or so are hook type Velcro, and you would just route it through this D-ring, you'd pull it tight, and you would lay the Velcro over the loop type once it's adjusted, which I could see the benefits to this, especially if you have to like put on a gas mask really fast. This is really, really easy to adjust to wearing over your gas mask, but it's definitely not as nice or as long lasting as the F1 style chin strap. So, but still a very comfortable helmet overall. Like most PASGATs, it's incredibly heavy. It's actually very, very stable though, unlike most PASGAT patterns, just because most PASGATs are there's so much coverage on them, and they're so large of a shell. They tend to get kind of wobbly, and they tend to get really heavy. After just a few minutes, you really start to feel the strain on your neck. But this helmet's suspension and chin strap really help kind of negate that, and you can wear it a lot longer than most other PASGAT styles just because of how comfortable it is. So now we'll get into the history of this helmet here, and there's the stamp. It's made by CGF Gallet. It was made in 1997. These started to come out in 1991 to replace the F1 helmet, even though the F1 wasn't fully replaced until 2010. It's made for the Army of France, which is what Armée Française means down there. Sorry, my French is terrible. I haven't spoken it in a long time. So, but overall, this is a great helmet, and you can find a lot of people in the U.S. military who watch this video will probably recognize Gallet, because Gallet of Canada, which is a subsection of Gallet of France, which is this company, was bought out in 2007 by MSA. So you see a lot of US ACHs that were made in Canada, which will say MSA Gallet on them. So if you have one of those, you actually have a helmet that was made in Canada, not in the United States. So, but it's still a very, very good helmet overall. Again, it's not made out of Kevlar. It's made out of spectra, which is the only other country that uses spectra in their helmets was Canada. And then the later ones were switched to Kevlar once MSA bought them out because it was cheaper. So that'll pretty much cover this video here. I'll give you a quick look at the circumference of the helmet here, so you can get a feel for it. It's extremely close to a PASGAT. I was going to dig my PASGAT out for this video to show you the comparison, but they're so close. It's not really worth it because it'd be like comparing the same exact thing. So, but if you want to see my PASGAT, I used it in the Navy Mark 7 video as a comparison. It shows up in my other videos as a little bit here and there for size comparisons. But this is pretty much an exact copy. Now, these are still in use, and they don't plan to be phased out until 2025 by the Phelan system of helmet, and that's pretty much just a cut-down version of this helmet anyways. So hopefully you guys like this video. Please feel free to leave a comment if you want any additional information on this, or if you want to suggest topics for future videos. I'll pretty much leave it here and wrap it up, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.